We picked this Empire buffet up the other day and we've gotten around to painting it. Jamie painted it in Fairy Chalk Mother Sea Glass. It needs a few repairs though. This piece here is missing. So we don't have the mirror and it's actually cut out just like this. It's not square in the back. So I'm gonna fit a piece of board in there and we're just gonna paint it black so it can be like a chalkboard. It was missing a drawer completely, so I'm going to try to match it to this. I haven't yet decided if I'm going to do like a full-blown drawer or make two little shelf type things that just slide in and out real easy. I've got this drawer. What I'm going to do is I've got this old piece of plywood and I'm going to actually make two of these. What I'm going to do is I'm going to trace the bottom out of this drawer onto this so I know how wide it is, and then I'm just going to build some quick little boxes. I know this drawer slides pretty easily, so I've just got it lined up on the edge over on this side, and I'm going to mark it off this line right there, and I'll cut that with my saw. Alright, so there's the side. This is going to be the bottom of the little drawer I'm making. I guess you could call it a drawer. It's not going to be a proper drawer. It's not going to fit correctly. It's more of a basket. Now that I've got my first board cut out, I'm just going to use it like a template. And I've got another scrap of wood from another project that I did. And I'm just going to lay that out on there and trace that on. Oop, make sure it's square. Now that I have the bases cut out, I'm going to use this. It's just 1/2 inch pine. I need it to be 2 3/4 of an inch tall so that it's the right height for the drawer sides or shelf or whatever we're calling this thing, basket. There we go, basket. Okay, because I'm using scraps, I've got the MDF board or particle board or fiber board, whatever you want to call it, and then I've got the pine. I'm going to use the pine for the front and the back, and this board here for the sides, and just make a box. I've got the wood glue out. That's gonna basically be what holds this together and makes it strong. I am gonna staple it together with the pneumatic staple gun, and I've got 1 1/4 by 18 gauge on here. Now I made sure to cut these front pieces and back pieces 1/2 inch narrower on each side, so basically 1 inch narrower than the front, because my material here is exactly 1/2 inch. That way I didn't have to staple in from the front. Okay, this isn't very strong like this, but once I staple it down to the bottom and glue it, it'll be really strong and sturdy. Now that I've got my sides of my box made up, I'm just going to put a thin bead of glue all along the edge here. And then drop the bottom on and square that up. If it's not perfectly square, if it just won't line up, you can use the sander to really square that up if you need it to be perfect. And staple it on. Now if I wanted to, I could even attach a drawer face to the front of this too. Moment of truth. Let's see if this fits. Oh, I'm gonna have to get rid of those. But Jamie wants to put a knob on it, so that'll be okay. Someone put this little piece of wood strip here as a door stop or as a drawer stop, but I don't need it for what I'm doing. Then I think these are the originals, and they're on there better than that was. Pop them off with a screwdriver. Alright, so now we need to get our chalkboard piece back in here. I've got this piece of wood, it's scrap, but it's about $13 for a sheet of it. It's 1/4 inch, it's called underlayment, and it works for a lot of things. It's pretty smooth, it's sanded for you already. And I'm just gonna tape this right up here to the top. Hopefully that'll hold it, it's not too heavy. Okay, there's my basic shape. I'm gonna actually cut it a little bigger than that because the backside has an inset for it, and then that'll be ready to paint and staple in.
Okay, so this Zeb cut out, he showed you this is the back part where the mirror was. I'm just using Rust-Oleum chalkboard paint because that's what I have on hand. You could also use the DIY paint or the Fairy Chalk Mother in black because they also work for chalkboards because they're very porous. But I have this and I need to use it up, so. I'm using my new paintbrush. This is the Paint Pixie brush. It's made in Italy. I think it's the 1 3/4 inch. It's the oval, the big one. It's nice because it really puts a lot of paint on there, and you really only want to dip it like this far because if you dip your brush all the way, you're wasting all this paint up here. I don't think I've ever told you guys that before, but I just found that out from my paintbrush manufacturer, so I thought I'd pass it along. Once I get the chalkboard paint on here, you can see I'm kind of doing it haphazardly. You have a few minutes before it starts to set up. Then I just take my brush and then I'm just gonna kind of drag it along here and smooth out every stroke. And you kind of want to do thin coats. It is self-leveling, so you won't really see the brush strokes. Oh, there's Jack in the pantry. Anyways, once you get it nice and neat, let it dry. And then do one more coat, and that's usually sufficient. And then it'll be a chalkboard. While my chalkboard paint is drying, I'm just using Minwax and Jacobian. Zeb built these, and I'm just gonna stain them. I probably don't need to stain the whole thing, actually. Well, I'll just do the edges and the outside, because I'm not really gonna distress the inside. Just so that way when I distress back, I've got some dark parts showing through. You can see our cupboards are open in the back. We're in the middle between 2 YouTube videos. We're always doing multiple projects. We are completely remodeling our kitchen, upstairs living area, or redoing, whatever you want to call it. And so we've taken them off to paint them. But on this project, I've already painted the back and the inside. And I'm only going to do 1 coat, except for on the front I might do 2 coats, because that's all that you're really going to see. And I'm just using Fairy Chalk Mother and Snowflake. And I'm using my 1 1/4 inch Paint Pixie brush here. Alright, so my boxes are all finished. I wound up just doing 2 coats on the front and everything else just has 1 coat because it's just the inside of it. And I'm going to take my orbital sander. I'm going to distress the whole piece and it'll be ready to be sealed. But first things first, I'm going to put my mask on.
This is the heater we use to heat the garage. It's designed for a large room. I picked it up at Home Depot. It's 45 bucks. I usually have to buy one a year because after the end of winter it gets pretty gross and dusty and doesn't heat very well. So with the garage door insulated, and I've got a link, I'll include that so you guys can see that, it keeps it about 55 to 60 degrees in here, which is a little on the cool side for spraying paint and polyurethane. Most manufacturers recommend 70 degrees plus. It'll get the job done. The only thing you really want to watch for is if you get your sealer or your paint too thick on one coat, it'll crackle it a little, but we like crackle around here, so bring it on. Jamie picked out these glass knobs for the top for both of these two, I guess we'll call them drawers. They're essentially drawers, not baskets. So we're gonna put these on there. They just don't have proper drawer faces on them. And I'm just gonna measure to the center. All right, so I got my center here at 9.5. And then it's 3.5, so 1.75 inches. I've made up 3 of these panels because I don't have the original piece that goes over the back. That was missing as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use these to hold the chalkboard in place. The hardware on here was originally this brassy gold color, and we switched it to Oil Rub's bronze. We just spray painted that with the Rust-Oleum Oil Rub bronze that they've got. They turned out really nice, and they especially look good with this Fairy Chalk Mother sea glass color.
Alright, so our project is finished. I know you guys didn't see me paint it, but I did use Fairy Chalk Mother and sea glass. It took me 3 coats to cover everything. And then Zeb showed you how to build these drawers, which is a great solution. They're not really drawers, they're more like crates.
Yeah, they don't have drawer fronts on them. They could be drawers easily. I mean, they slide in and out like a drawer, and I've got stops on the back so that they don't push all the way through.
But they're more like crates. They're less fancy than a drawer.
There's a gap here in the front. You know, we don't want to do baskets because I went down to Hobby Lobby to look at baskets, and even if I'd had a coupon, I was going to be $40 to get a basket that fit in here, and it still wasn't going to be the right size. I would have had to make a slide in the bottom for it to sit on, and it was less work to just build these for, I don't know, $5 out of scrap wood.
Yeah, so it's a great option if you've got something that's missing 1 drawer or 2 drawers, just to build your own little crates. And we wanted something kind of like a farmhousey salvage vibe anyways, because we've got this chalkboard back here that they can chalk on. I think it turned out pretty darling, and it's got a lot of great storage, so we're going to go ahead and get it listed today. We painted the drawers in Snowflake. It's all sealed in polyacrylic. Zeb just sprayed it out of his gun. He did a great job. If you want to use the colors, the sea glass and the Snowflake from the Fairy Chalk Mother chalk paint, go to JamiRayVintage.com and you can get these 2 colors. Be sure to subscribe, give us a thumbs up, click the notifications button.